We're on safari. We're headed to the floodplains of Zimbabwe for close encounters with amazing animals. We'll travel on foot.
It gets your heart racing because you're right in there with the animals. It gives you a totally different perspective.
By boat.
You're only about a few inches off the water, so you're really in it. You're part of the food chain, if you could put it that way.
All day. And all night. This is one of the best places in the world to get to know Earth's wild side. Located in the center of southern Africa, the country of Zimbabwe is landlocked by 4 nations: South Africa, Zambia, Botswana, and Mozambique. At 150,000 square miles, Zimbabwe is a relatively small country, roughly the size of Montana. Forming its northern border is the mighty Zambezi River, the 4th largest river in Africa. In the middle stretch of the Zambezi River is Mana Puls National Park, designated a World Heritage Site and commonly described as Africa's Garden of Eden. It's an enormous wildlife preserve, covering 845 square miles. Like the Nile River, the Zambezi rises and falls every year with the rains, forming fertile floodplains and pools. The dry season, when the waters recede and the animals must share crowded watering holes, is the best time of year to see wildlife.
I don't know if there is any other place on Earth that looks and feels quite like this. The vegetation is unique to this area, and especially at this time of year, you get such fantastic scenery and wildlife that you just don't get anywhere else. There's nothing quite like it.
Mana Pul's astonishing array of wildlife attracts visitors from all over the world. But leave the SUV in the garage. It's one of the only national parks in Zimbabwe where visitors are allowed to set out on foot. In fact, vehicles aren't even permitted in many parts of the park. Rather, tourists with 2 good legs can approach the animals as close as they dare. Or as close as the animals allow. A guide isn't required, but is recommended. After all, this place is home to the largest and most dangerous predators in the world. Guide Sean Lewis of Wilderness Safaris lays down the ground rules.
Guys, while we're out there, just remember, no matter what happens, don't run under any circumstance. Instinct says move those 2 little legs as fast as you can. Don't. Okay, animals are quite taken aback when you just stand your ground. They normally just stop and they say, why aren't these guys running? They normally then stop and then they'll move off, which will give us a chance to just slowly back off. There's always a possibility we might get a charge out of something. Please just stick behind me at all times. And if something does happen to charge us, stay right behind me, stick in close. If we stand still, 9 times out of 10, they will stop.
And if they don't, Sean carries a rifle, but he'll only use it in the most dire of circumstances.
The only time you would ever use it is if you really, really felt that either yourself or your guests who are walking with you, that their lives are in danger. It is within the law of this country to be able to shoot an animal if somebody's life is in danger. I've been walking now for about 8 years, 9 years, and luckily so far never had to shoot an animal. It's just merely a form of, it's an insurance that we carry the weapons with us. If you know what you're doing and you got a reasonable idea of what's happening out there, and you can easily judge what their reactions are going to be when you come across them. And we try and avoid confrontations, we try and stick to the open areas. Although we do try and get to see the animals, we also try not to push the limits.
It's not long before Sean spots his first animals. They're hard to miss. A herd of African elephants enjoy a morning mud bath. More than 6,500 elephants live in this park. These, the largest living land animals in the world, grow up to 11 feet tall and weigh as much as 7 tons, or 14,000 pounds. Much of it muscle. Like its trunk. An elephant's trunk is incredibly powerful and also precise, containing 40,000 muscles and tendons. A fully grown male can pick up a log weighing as much as 300 pounds. Or pick up an object as small as a penny. But despite their strength, aggression towards humans is rare.
It's quite remarkable that we can sit here so close to these elephants, and they seem relatively unperturbed by us.
While it may look like play to us, there's a reason why these elephants are slopping around in the mud.
This time of the year, the temperatures are getting up, so getting into the mud, throwing a mud over them obviously cools them down a lot. But having the mud on them helps protect themselves from the parasites, tsetse flies, things like that.
To keep at a healthy weight, elephants must eat more than 500 pounds of food every day. Usually they rely on grass, leaves, and bark. But these elephants have found a far more tasty treat. The pods of the acacia tree. Acacia trees grow along the floodplains of the Zambezi River. Soaring up to 60 feet tall, they're commonly called umbrella thorn trees for their shady canopy and prickly branches. But acacia pods don't just fall down from the trees by themselves. The elephants are too busy feasting to notice the safari depart. Sean leads the way to another herd of even less predictable animals. African buffalo have distinctive curved horns up to 4 feet in length. The horns broaden at the base to form a solid boss, which can be used to ram other animals. Standing more than 5 feet tall, they weigh up to 2,000 pounds and travel in large, tight herds, giving them countless sets of eyes to watch for predators. But that's no guarantee of a long life.
These guys have generally been through quite a bit in their lives. They've had a lot of their friends killed. They're extremely strong. They can quite often fight off a couple of lions, but not without the injuries that result as well. So quite often they can tanker us. By continuing to move and not moving directly at them, they're normally a lot more relaxed. If we're moving parallel to them, they don't feel threatened at all in any way.
This group of buffalo is relatively well protected and relaxed. There's safety in numbers. But a good distance away from the main herd, a buffalo stands alone. He is unprotected and an enticing target for predators. Isolated like this, the buffalo will treat any animal as a threat, including humans.
Okay guys, we've got a big buffalo bull up ahead of us. He's a lone boy. These are the guys that are very unpredictable. They've generally got no body language, not like elephants and lions and so on. You can tell what sort of a mood they're in. They've always just got that I want to eat you look about them. They normally leave the herd for the dry season, so they don't have to be continuously on the move with the females. But at the same time, they're more vulnerable to attack by lions who do like to feed on buffalo a lot. So this guy's probably seen quite a few of his mates being eaten by lions. He's probably been attacked by lions on numerous occasions. Okay.
If he were to charge us right now, how quickly could he cover this distance to us?
Oh, this sort of a distance you'd be able to cover probably in about 4 or 5 seconds.
Wow.
So we've got no chance. What we're going to do is a detour around here. We're actually going to veer all the way around him. We're not going to try and confront him at all. We'll just move around him.
Okay.
With confrontation avoided, Sean leads the safari back to camp. And darkness descends. With the night comes an entirely different safari experience. Armed with spotlights and night vision goggles, the inky landscape comes alive. Many animals are nocturnal and are only active at night. It's an eerie world rarely seen by humans. Elephants lounge beside the pools for an evening drink, as spotted hyenas prowl nearby. Even a cheetah stops by to quench his thirst. Hippos prefer to stay in the water for most of the day, but at night, even they venture out onto land, in groups, to graze on thicker grasses. They've been known to travel inland 2 to 3 miles every night to try and find food. But a late-night snack is not without its dangers. Even massive animals like hippos are not immune from attack. But the brightest stars of the nighttime safari are these, Africa's most impressive predators. Lions.
Because it is quite hot during the day, when they're making a kill, the energy required actually produces a lot of heat, so they don't really want to be active during the day. They'd rather be active at night when things are cooler.
Big cats have superior eyesight, 6 times better than humans, giving them a tactical advantage at night, when most animals' eyesight leaves them semi-blind. They spend much of the night patrolling their territory. A powerful pride can control an area as large as 150 square miles. Before long, Sean finds a lion who's had some luck. The lone buffalo Sean and his safari group saw in the daylight has not made it through the night.
One of the great things we saw last night was one of the resident lions here, a young male called Livingston. He's actually quite incredible. He's got a lot of strength and obviously a lot of intelligence. He attacked an adult Cape buffalo, one on his own, one of those animals that most animals will stay well away from, and something that normally only 2 or 3 lions would be capable of bringing down. He actually managed to come in, and over quite a long period of time, he came up behind the buffalo and managed to work on his rear legs and basically hamstrung him. He tore the tendons. This caused the buffalo to go down, and when he went down like that, Livingston managed to get on top of him and strangle him. Obviously, it was a long, hard hunt, and he's trying to compensate now. And they go for a lot of the energy, nutrient-rich parts of the body, like the organs, the kidneys, the liver. particular areas like the liver which are full of blood, which will compensate for the energy that he's put out. They'll go normally for the softer areas to open up the animal. You open up from the center of the belly. And so then he'll probably move on to areas like the rump, which are good fleshy areas which will give him a lot of that energy back again.
Other lions hear the kill and begin to head his way. Livingston knows they are nearby, but has no intention of sharing.
So I think he was quite aware of it. He kept on stopping, listening.
Livingston hunkers down, prepared for a fight. But there won't be any trouble tonight. The other lions pass him by. And while Livingston dines by moonlight, the safari returns to camp for the night. Early in the morning, the next adventure begins. A canoe safari. It's the only way to explore the waterways of the Zambezi River. Motorized boats are not allowed, and this is not a place to go for a swim. Canoe safari trips can last more than a week, but this trip will take only a day. This mode of transport is one of the best ways to see hippos up close. Over 4,000 of them have been counted along the shores of the Zambezi. They're shy creatures who spend most of the day underwater. Even so, from this vantage point, they're difficult to miss.
Gives you a bit of an adrenaline rush every now and again when you get close to animals. You're only about a few inches off the water, so you're really in it. You know, you get close to the animals, you feel you're in nature. You're part of the food chain, if you could put it that way.
Hippos can weigh more than 2 tons and are fiercely territorial. Males are easily identifiable by scars from turf battles with other hippos. When threatened, hippos have been known to overturn canoes and are by many accounts responsible for more deaths in Africa than any other animal. If approached on land, they will make a dash for the water. When they do, you don't want to be in their way.
Is that a hippo?
Yeah, that was a hippo call there. Probably communicating with other pods around. They're very territorial, so they have to talk to each other a lot to keep out of each other's way. You see the very big one across there?
Yeah.
That's probably the dominant bull. You just tell from size, and he looks at you more inquisitively than the rest of the pod. Since they prefer deeper water, we'll try and give them the deep water. We'll stay in the shallow.
As the guide steers the canoe past the pod, the dominant bull gives him the hippo "do not disturb" sign. The guide has no intention of bothering them, so he leaves the hippos in peace. Continuing through the waterways, some of Mana Pul's less skittish residents can be seen. But hidden along the banks is also an animal that no one wants to get too close to. A Nile crocodile with a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth. Nile crocodiles can grow as long as 20 feet. Young crocodiles only eat fish, but adults have been known to eat impala and even buffalo.
There's a few formulas that you have to follow when going around hippos and crocodiles. You can't completely eliminate the element of danger, but you can do it fairly safely without getting yourself hurt if you do it the right way.
You've got to put a lot of faith into your guide and know that he does this every day and that he's not going to paddle you into any danger.
As long as they don't feel threatened, crocodiles allow canoes to come fairly close before slipping away into the water. As the sun begins to set, the canoe safari draws to a close, as does our adventure into Zimbabwe's Mana Puls. Whether it's watching elephants feast or stalking lions as they get their fill, coming face to face with a bad-tempered buffalo, hanging out with hippos, or canoeing among crocodiles, touring Mana Pulls is a singular safari experience. An adventure that reveals and revels in nature's grand plan. And an expedition that instills in visitors a new respect for the animals of Zimbabwe's Mana Pulls.
It's definitely the most thrilling experience. There's no doubt about it.
Basically, you feel like you're really being put in your place. In the scheme of things, you become like nothing. And the animals seem to be that much bigger. It's that much more exciting because you feel like you're right in amongst it.